move on now to Mexico.
Ah.
And because I say that, because there are some people that believe since U.S. isn't in and we border Mexico, let's root for Mexico.
No.
They're our neighboring country, and that's the honest next. That should be our next team. Mexico was on the cover of Sports Illustrated's World Cup preview, and they called it like the next best thing to the United States, Mexico. And yet here we are. Do you agree that without the U.S., Mexico should be our team, especially here in El Paso?
It's nice to have a great marketing company behind you, isn't it? Which Mexico, it's all it is. It's nice marketing, and there's how many Mexican people here in the United States, which are soccer, friendly or whatever. But I don't think we should root for Mexico. I think any team that we root for should, at least have that decency or urgency of trying to get better. And for the last, 4 World Cups, Mexico hasn't done anything better. They've always failed at the right time. They've always gone down at the right time. So I don't think Mexico is this powerhouse or anywhere close to a world powerhouse. I personally don't root for Mexico because I don't agree with the league. I don't agree with the way it's built, with the way the players are sold in and out within the confines of the Mexican league.
Of slavery?
Basically, yeah. Basically it is.
Because no, it's pretty blatant, yeah.
Yeah,
the way they manage the players in Mexican
soccer. They don't respect contracts. I mean, if a player is out of contract, no other team can contract that player unless that the parent team or the team that did contract him allows them to. So there's a lot of things wrong with Mexican soccer, and one of the biggest wrongs was a party I think you guys heard of in the last...
Was it a birthday party?
No, it wasn't a birthday. Well, people were in their birthday suits,
yeah.
which was completely different, but they don't really represent Mexico or any values that Mexico has. It's just them. It's the team that's going to represent the federation, not really Mexico. So.
Okay, now, I know Joe's going to respond because his first love is still Mexico. We've talked about this. This is not a secret.
American citizen, too.
I get that. But I know Claudia feels very passionate about this subject as well. So, Claudia, why don't you go ahead and you weigh in first,
okay.
and then we'll give Joe the chance to retort.
Look, Joe, with all due respect to you as a Mexico supporter, why would I cheer for my country's natural rival? It doesn't make sense to me. I grew up, right? I grew up in the sport culture. You wouldn't cheer for, you're a Mets fan, right? Mets supporter. Do you cheer anytime for the Yankees?
No.
Okay, I wouldn't cheer for Mexico.
See, that was a fast response. No. And that's how everybody should respond.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I support England. I love the EPL. I love Liverpool. I'm sure nobody knows that. That's why I support England.
It's like asking a Cowboys fan to support the Redskins or the Eagles.
No.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna happen.
And the funniest part about this is you talk about the marketing behind Mexico and the popularity, and you talk about, ironically enough, Yankees and cheering on another team. Here's the thing of it though. Who has helped make Mexico so popular in this country?
The U.S.
Soccer United marketing that makes MLS. That's the equivalent of saying, you know what, Yankees? You're in charge of everything when it comes to you taking care of your games at home. Anytime you play outside of Yankee Stadium, the Boston Red Sox will manage all of your marketing, and we're going to manage your team. Yeah, the Fenway Group. No one ever says that. No one ever sees that.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about the popularity and United States fans. I know recently, like for example today, I received an email promoting that the Mexico just announced that they're going to face Uruguay in Houston on September 7th. You read the threads on social media and it's like, all American fans, why am I getting this email? Well, because Soccer United Marketing sent it to you.
Exactly.
Who managed, which is the biggest ironic thing. You want to talk about the popularity of the U.S. team or of the Mexican soccer team? Soccer United Marketing has facilitated that, and it's their most precious contract. Talk about shaking hands with the devil or the enemy. That's it. Number 2.
25 million a year.
Exactly. So I just find that hilarious. And as far as Mexico, no, I don't think I agree with you wholeheartedly. I don't see why Mexico is going to gain any popularity from this just because the U.S. is out. Unfortunately, I think we're all losing in the experience of the U.S. not being in this tournament. I even think that the commercials by the television network that is covering the U.S., they're a little bland. They seem a little lost, a little forced in what the product it is that they have to advertise in the World Cup, because you can't sell you're not selling the national team. And I'm sure, the executives at the television network that have the broadcasting rights for the World Cup here in the United States, they must have had a damn near close to a stroke when the U.S. didn't qualify.
Yeah.
And it shows, and it's gotta be tough, because even those commercials, they're missing something.
Did you see how they're saying, well, root for your roots, find your roots? We're Americans. I would cheer for Great Britain, Spain, partially Portugal, Mexico.
And for the record, the reason why I go for Mexico, and I've said this to Steve countless number of times, my love for Mexico started in the '86 World Cup. That's when to me, it's a team. It's not politics. It's not a national thing. To me, it's just another sports team. That's it. I identified with Mexico before the U.S. came on to '94, and then when.
But that was also a real team.
So
that was also a real team.
Yeah, I mean, so.
But the point is, he rooted for that team, and even as the team has evolved, think about it. You fall in love with a team in the 80s, they might not be the same team now, but if you rooted for them then, you're still rooting for that team now.
Nebraska football, God knows.
It's not necessarily, so it's difficult because he doesn't look at it as the country, he looks at it as the team.
The team.
And that's there's a difference.
And Mexico's not going to get out of the group stages anyway.
Well, they're in the group of death in this year's World Cup because it is a stacked group right now for them. It's not going to be easy.
They come up the 17th against Germany, which I think Germany is going to pull Brazil on them. It's going to be 5-0 against Mexico. Then they go up against I think it's South Korea. Excuse me. All this North Korean news, But I really haven't seen them play. But all Asian teams are fast, and Mexico has a problem. Discipline, and all Mexican teams have problem with one thing: speed. And their back four is not that speedy anyway. And then they come up against a team which is facing the after Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Sweden, which they have pretty good players. And they can control the ball on you. So I don't see Mexico progressing to the knockout stages because, one, I don't think they have the necessary, building blocks for it. And second of all, I have no idea what Juan Carlos Osorio is playing at.
Okay.
So
let's do this. Again, there's only so much time in our World Cup preview. We could do this for hours and take our listeners to the rest of the week if we wanted to. But there's other teams to talk about right now. I'm wearing a Denmark jersey because my family on my wife's side comes from Copenhagen, and therefore, if I need to pick a team to root for, I'm going to go for my father-in-law's home country and Christian Eriksen and that group and what they've got right now. Claudia's wearing England, getting excited about a team that also is an underdog heading into this World Cup.
Golden generation is done. And nothing happened in the golden generation.
I know. Joe is ripping through the pages of the World Cup preview book so he can get an idea. But are we going to see the same old teams? The same old teams? Or are we going to see maybe some new blood when we go into the round of 4, into the semifinals? Or should we expect to see Brazil, Argentina, Belgium, Germany? Are those going to be the kind of teams that are going to be coming back through?
You mentioned one there that's kind of a newbie, Belgium.
Well, because they are having right now the best talent pool they've ever had.
The recurring theme that has happened in every single World Cup. There's always, and it should be this. It could be the slogan of the World Cup. There's always surprises, but the same ones win. That's where I come off, and therein lies the hope of everyone around the world that just maybe this time it'll be your turn for your team to be one of the ones that carries that surprise a little bit further than anyone else. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the nitty gritty, it's rare for there to be surprise.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be the usual suspects: Brazil, Germany, Spain. Even though Spain is coming down a little bit.
Does Ronaldo have a chance?
Portugal? Yeah. Portugal has to be really careful with Morocco in their group. Because Morocco has some great players in their ranks with Mendy Benatia, who's a great defender. They got some really great players in that team, and Morocco's not going to be that easy for Portugal. And unless Cristiano Ronaldo, at 33 years old, granted he's playing still at a level which is
like LeBron
incredible.
James. You could say that after all these years, he hasn't dropped off, which is something.
I mean, the big criticism with Ronaldo was he's one player, like it happens with so many players in the world of soccer. He's one player with his club team, he's completely a different player with Portugal. That was his biggest criticism. But you also have to remember, in this most recent European Championships, he threw the team on his back and he got them a European title. Granted, it was against an Iceland team that was an enormous surprise. And from what I hear about, like I was reading that the Iceland team, just because of their most recent role in the European Championships from 2 summers ago, a lot of Americans are taking the liking to them.
Their names are kind of hard though.
Well, they all end in OV, right?
Yeah, Sergeant Overton.
I would hate to be that play-by-play guy, but anyhow, that's the biggest factor with Portugal is how well is Ronaldo going to do?
They have some great players though. I mean, they have some fantastic players like João Moutinho.
Right.
But
as a unit, they always struggle.
They struggle for some reason or another, and they need Ronaldo to come up and save them. And it's surprising because they do have some of the best talent in the world, and yet they depend on Cristiano, on CR7. So they could be a surprise. They could go deep in the tournament. Once you're deep in the tournament, it's really
That's
good.
16.
Yeah.
What about France? Could this be France's year?
No.
Wow, we disagree on
Yes,
this one.
we do disagree on this one.
I completely agree with her. They have a whole lot of talent, but up to this point, the head coach for this team, champion with France in '98, Deschamps. I think is his
Didier Deschamps.
I don't do the French accent, but
Yeah,
anyway,
Deschamps.
yeah, exactly.
That's why we brought Augustine here.
Right,
Yes.
absolutely. He's failed so far. France has looked good, but once again, you have the teams that they have struggled with in the entire process of the qualifying. They've struggled with teams that know how to settle down and play as a unit. France is made up of a lot of individual talent, but
and to add to Joe, Kylian Mbappe, which is one of the great stars of that team, just went down today with an injury in training, and he will be assessed in the following hours to see if he does play in the World Cup. And
That could be a huge blow.
It could be a huge blow because he's one of the. Kylian Mbappe is 18 years old and he's a phenom. They may have people who, kind of suppress that hit, but still, to be hit with something like that at the start of the World Cup, it's kind of hard. But the real reason I think France will do well is, and Fernie's going to kill me for this, and because Paul Pogba is going to be a great player in the World Cup because he's completely being ruined by Mourinho at Manchester United. He plays too deep. That guy's not supposed to be that deep and try to be a box-to-box midfielder. He needs to be up top where he can actually do damage to the defense.
He's on the cover of the ESPN World Cup preview.
Yep.
So Pogba is a big name right now, and one of the keys, obviously, for France.
And one of the things that you need to remember is players that are precisely in that situation, like Pogba is they're on a stage where he's questionable with his club team, a club team like Manchester United. Head coach Jose Mourinho, which is one of the biggest coaches in world soccer, and he's questionable. So that being on the stage of a World Cup, they use this month-long tournament to bump their stock up a little bit. And I think that's where a lot of the motivation for Pogba is going to be. So I wouldn't surprise me in the least bit if he himself has a very good tournament.
But he can't carry the entire team. I mean,
I
can
agree.
see France getting out of Group C, and then what?
Yeah.
And then hit.
Hey, I'm one of the few people that believes that France was never worthy of being a world champion to begin with. I mean, back in '98, I thought they should have been ousted by Portugal in the round of 16, I believe.
But I could see them even going against Portugal.
Yeah, Luis Figo had a great game then.
Yeah, so.
Okay, as we wrap up our World Cup preview, let's go around the room and give each of you a chance to tell everybody watching the thing you're looking forward to the most as we get ready for this year's World Cup. Augustine, we'll start with you.
What I'm looking forward the most is actually just watching all these world-class players and looking at Germany lifting up the cup again. I think Germany's going to take it again. Looking at Germany and looking at their depth in squad and the way they play, and it's the German way. And what is the saying in Spanish, Joe? Si es Alemania, I can't remember the saying, but the saying is gane están o no están, si es Alemania va a ganar. Being there, not being there, any way you look at it, Germany's going to win. And I think this is Germany's World Cup to lose.
Okay.
I'm delighted to watch Egypt. I love Mo Salah. Mo Salah's been a delight to watch all year at Liverpool. Egypt's going to do well. I can see Egypt doing fantastic. I disagree with you. I don't think Germany's going to take it. Germany's been playing very weak lately. I see Brazil. I see Coutinho. I see Firmino. They played wonderfully. I think it's Brazil's World Cup to go. Hoping England as well, though.
I agree with you. I saw minutes before coming over here, Mo Salah, his questionability has just increased for the opening game of the World Cup.
Yep.
I hate to break it to you.
Oh, you had to do that.
Merry Christmas.
We thought it wasn't enough, man. Come on.
I'll go off of what you were saying. I don't think we talked about him enough. What I look forward to is Brazil's performance in this World Cup. I think after the way things went down last year, or not last year, 4 years ago.
Seems like last year.
4 years ago, being humiliated in their country's biggest tournament, 7-1. I don't think people have talked enough about that motivation, about that revenge theme. I think they're more than motivated to come back with a vengeance this year. You're talking about a team that over these 4 years of preparation, they played 45 games. They only lost 6 of them. So Brazil, I'm very, very interested to see how they do. And I think they're primed to win it, and so does Las Vegas, and I completely agree with them. And as far as from a personal standpoint, the team I'm going for, I'm interested to see is Mexico, and I just want to see how many more variations this head coach can do with his starting 11, because they participated in 48 games since he's been at the helm, and he's given 48 different starting lineups, which to me is just despicable in every way, shape, or form. And regardless what happens, I can't wait to see him gone from the Mexican national soccer team.
Okay, as simple as that. I'm looking forward to the upset. I always like to root for the underdog, and especially in a tournament like the World Cup. Favorites, you see them a lot, but
Iran.
Sometimes, whether it's Iran, Egypt, or in this case, Denmark, a country that nobody really expects, but has a Cinderella run and gets themselves to go far enough and has a chance to play for all the marbles. And we just got through a great Stanley Cup Finals with Las Vegas and Washington winning their first ever Stanley Cup championship. So you never know sometimes in sports. You have to always enjoy and expect the unexpected. And as far as our panel goes, terrific job. I want to thank Joe, Claudia, and Augustine.
Be careful with Argentina.
No, Argentina's not going to go anywhere.
It's amazing. He always has to get the last word, doesn't he? Always. For our panel, I'm Steve Kaplowitz. Thanks for watching, and enjoy this year's World Cup with 600 ESPN El Paso.